In the emergency department, the trauma doctor writes car versus bike to explain the cause of the injury, as if there was any contest at all. And we recently here in Phoenix, we had a horrible car versus bicycle. Apparently, a fellow in a car ran into several people in a bicycle club. Two of them were killed and many of them were badly injured. So it's time to talk about the bicycle in traffic, and I call this car versus bike. I'm just interested in talking about one particular situation that I have come across as a driver, and my hope is that all of those of us who drive will make a plan for this situation, think about the situation ahead of time, and make a plan of what they're going to do. So here you are, you're driving in your car, and you come across a bicyclist. You come across a person on a bicycle riding in the street, which is legal, and that person has the same right of way as the person in the car. You come across, and it's a busy street. There's no bicycle path. There's no bike path, and people are behind you, and the cyclist is going 15 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and you want to go ahead and get to work or wherever you're going. And you, as a responsible person, you might look to the left to see if you can change lanes before you pass the bicycle. You get an A for that. But what if the lane is full of cars, and you've got people backing up behind you, people piling up because you're going 15 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and you're trying to think of what to do. So if you're like me, you've probably just passed that cyclist in the very same lane, and that is not illegal, but there are many concerns. It may or may not be illegal depending on the situation, and so you should be concerned. Do you pass the cyclist? Is it legal to pass the cyclist? Okay. This is the situation then, and in this picture, I've put in the cyclist. I didn't bother to make the bicycle, and I did go out and I measured the right lane of a busy street here in Phoenix, and I found that busy street to be 11 feet 4 inches, and I've drawn this pretty much to scale. There is some error, but not too much. But so here's the situation again to scale. And so this bicyclist, he or she does not like to ride in the gutter because there's a seam between the gutter and the street, and it's very easy to get your wheel stuck and go toppling over. So this bicyclist has chosen a path on the right side of the lane, 1 foot in from the gutter, and his tire path, his or her tire path is demarcated, fancy word, is designated by this orange line. So again, imagine that this person is on a bicycle. The black line is the gutter. The person the person is riding 1 foot in from the gutter, and the person is roughly 24 inches across. Maybe the handlebars are 24 inches, or the person's shoulder. Anyway, so the person is taking up roughly 2 feet of the width of the lane. So this is the understanding of the situation. Given a right lane that is only 11 feet and 4 inches, given a bicycle rider, a bicycle rider guides his tire down 1 foot from the gutter. Given that the rider is approximately 24 inches wide, I wrote 18, that's now 24. 24 inches wide. Please take note, for example, that the Hyundai that my wife owns is 7 feet wide. So the fact is, if I were driving the Hyundai, I could not pass the person on the bicycle legally in this situation because you're required when you drive to provide 3 feet of clearance. If you're going to pass a cyclist in the same lane, you're supposed to provide at least 3 feet of clearance between your vehicle and the cyclist. And take note that at least this is supposed to be the passenger compartment of a car, and that's supposed to be me driving. And I'm in my wife's Hyundai and it's 7 feet wide. I can't pass. I should not pass the person in the bicycle because I'm supposed to give 3 feet. There's supposed to be 3 feet of clearance between my vehicle and the cyclist. I would only be providing 18 inches of clearance, and that would not be legal. If another example would be the Yukon XL, which is a big SUV. I measured the back of one of those and it was 8 feet wide. And in this particular circumstance, the Yukon would only be able to give the bicycle about 6 inches of clearance. Now I've played fast and loose with the numbers. I pretty much took out the 4 inches. So, but even if you give me the 4 inches or the Yukon the 4 inches, we're still not providing 3 feet of clearance for the person on the bicycle. So you just want to know if it's legal. So you're confronted with the situation. And what should you do? The cyclist is going very slow and you're trying to get to work. But, okay. And if you're curious at least about the laws, about the bicycle laws in Phoenix, you can go to this website. Now, you can't click on it, but you can type it in and search for Street Transportation Bike Laws, phoenix.gov in parentheses. Keep in mind that it's legal for a cyclist to ride on a busy street without a bike path. Now, we hope that there will be more bike paths, etc. Sometimes a cyclist is in a hurry or needs to use that street, and that cyclist has a right to use that street. And the cyclist can use, how much of the lane can the cyclist use? In the Phoenix law, it says you may ride far off pavement, drain grates, and pavement joints, as well as to avoid pedestrians, dogs, parked vehicles, and other objects. So really, the cyclist is allowed, here it is in the next paragraph, You, the bicycle rider, may occupy any part of a lane when your safety warrants it. But the question comes down to this: how wide is your vehicle? In the example I have given, your vehicle really cannot be wider than 6 feet and still provide that 3-foot clearance with the bicycle. Now, traffic lanes probably are wider and thinner and wider depending on factors, but I would encourage drivers who care about cyclists and who care about the law, I would encourage you to measure your car, the width of your car from the tip of one mirror, side mirror, to the tip of the other side mirror, because if the width of your car might be fine, but it's the side mirror that might very well clip the bicyclist, so you have to include that. Measure the width of your car and decide ahead of time, so you know if there's a cyclist, are you legal? Are you breaking the law by passing that cyclist in the same lane? And therefore give you more space to pass. But take these things into account. I'd like you to think about it before the situation arises again, so that you know what you can do. But it's not a crime for you to slow down and follow the bicycle until you can change lanes or until you can pass the bicycle safely. And I just beg you to do so.